Hello and welcome to my discussion this afternoon or this day about various religion, philosophies, and beliefs in Asia as part of our discussion in Asian studies. So, the main objective of this particular discussion is for us to flesh out the various religions and philosophies that had existed in Asia all throughout the course of its history, and how do these particular religion, philosophies, and beliefs had changed the views of Asians throughout generations. So it's very important for us to discuss. So the concept of belief. This is an acceptance by the mind that is something that is true or real, sometimes underpinned by an emotional or spiritual sense of certainty. This means to say that this is your personal conviction or intuition about what you think or view about the surrounding, about your point of view about your personal behavior or your attitude towards a particular unseen unseen creator, or if not unseen creatures, or unseen leaders, or if not spiritual movers. So that's a belief. Okay. So what are the distinctions so that we need to consider, no, discussing? I mean, in considering the why did the Asians have the various beliefs or practices throughout the continent? So when we talk about philosophy and religion, we need to first to look at the concepts that is being presented here. Okay. So when we talk about the philosophy, we are asking of the basic who am I, where am I, what am I. Somehow philosophy has been based, a philosophical point of view has been based on a school of thought about essentialism, for example, essentialism, progressivism, naturalism, and somehow philosophy are guide or underlying principles which has a set of beliefs or aims, no, towards a particular point of view. So philosophy has something to do with the way we think about the various concepts, our surrounding, or if not, the actions provided to us by we are providing. Okay. The next is religion. Religion is a system of belief and worship, and this includes now your personal beliefs and values towards an seen figure. Okay. So the thing, one thing's for sure here, both of these uh, terms, no, points out that it has an impact on the way of life among the Asians and how do they establish communities and societies. Okay. Somehow in philosophy, we are asking about the basic principles using our rational and critical inquiry, whereas religion has something to do with the practice of of a particular person based on their culture. So, as one thing's for sure that we need to consider these two terms that had shaped or if not made an impact among the various lives of Asians throughout various countries in the continent. There are instruments of religion, so that we need to so that you should consider this one, no, in examining your personal beliefs, your thoughts towards unseen person or unseen particular object that you are uh, worshiping to. First is the ritual. That includes now the prayers, or if not the temple dances, the sacrifices, or offerings of a particular human or an individual. That's what you call ritual. For example, in the Muslims, they are praising Allah, no, 5 times a day. Whereas Catholics practicing not the fasting or abstinence. Okay, or if not for the Hindus, doing a ritual or practicing a dance ritual for the Hindu gods. Okay. The next is a ceremony. This includes now, for example, baptism in various Christian denominations. Okay, house blessing, wedding, or if not, partnerships, no, using religion. That's a ceremony. Then the other one is a taboo. These are the forbidden or prohibition of various acts, which thinks that it brought misfortunes to violators. For example, adultery is an example of taboo act in the Catholic faith, and not giving alms to the poor is also a violation of an act among the Muslims. Okay, so these are the things that you need to consider in understanding various religions in Asia. Okay, we need also to know what are the classifications of religion. We have the monotheistic, the polytheistic, and somehow the animistic. Polytheistic refers to one God being worshipped. This includes now Judaism, uh, Christianity, and Islam. Whereas polytheistic refers to more than one God or being worshipped. This includes Hinduism by nature. Animistic are wherein if many animate or inanimate objects are used for being worshipped. For example, the god of the thunder, the god of, for example, the nature, the spirits of the nature, okay, or even the rock are being considered as part of the animistic worshipping. Okay. Now let's go to various philosophies and religion uh, found in Asia. Remember, before we proceed to this discussion, it's very important that both religion and philosophy had changed the views of various Asian communities. So first we have Hinduism. This is known as the oldest extant religion in the world, and it is a conglomeration or a culmination of various religious, philosophical, and cultural ideas in India. So at the start of the Indian civilization, when the Vedas took over, okay, when the Aryans rather had took over India, they had presented various philosophical and religious or cultural point of view on how can these Indians, or if not the Dravidians together with them, should live together. Okay, it's somehow a part of the way of life among the Indians that includes the teachings of the sages and scriptures of included in the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are very important literary works in the Indian civilization and history. So, uh, it, again, this includes now the caste, no? The framework in society would include now the caste system. Okay, this had been discussed, no, last time about the Asian societies. Now, the caste system, as I pointed out, includes the following characteristics. Yeah. Now, very important for us to understand that the Hindu gods and goddesses are known as the Trimurti. Okay? They include now the Brahma, the first level god, the creator and purveyor of all creation. That means Brahma has the highest intellect and highest form of belief. No, I mean these are the very one of the three revered gods in the Hindu practice. He was the first one to create the humans, according to this tradition. And the Shiva is known as the slayer and the destroyer of the creation. Vishnu is the protector and preservator of all creations. In other words, they are Trimurti because they are the responsible divinities that creates, that destroys, and preserve all living things. Now let's go to the various principles in Hinduism, such as karma. Karma is the sum of all good and bad deeds that person has performed during the past lives. This includes now their obligations of how good or bad they had done their actions towards other people. At the same time, they had deal with problems to their communities or to their friends or to their families, and how do they deal with this in a good way or even in a bad way. Their actions are very important in Hindu practices. So the good of all and all bad deeds that a man had accomplished all throughout his life are known as karma. Reincarnation happens because every person has an internal soul in the context of Hinduism, in which he is reborn into a new body after death. Still, it is the base or depend on the individual's karma. For example, you are a Vaishya or a Shudra. Let's say Vaishya, that means merchants. You're a merchant in ancient India, and you had did a very good acts towards other people based on your caste. At the same time, based uh, on your behavior towards other people too. Yung pakikitungo, pakikisama, no? Marami ka nagawa mabuti sa iyong kapwa-tao. So sa susunod na buhay mo, maaring iba na yung katayuan mo, maaring hindi ka na Vaishya, o maaring isa ka ng Kshatriya, o kaya naman um, manatili kang Vaishya na may mabuti rin kalooban. Kung halimbawa naman hindi naging maganda ang pakikitungo mo sa ibang tao sa buong buhay mo, maaring may hindi magandang mangyayari sa kaluluwa mo sa susunod na buhay mo. Maaring ikaw ay maging ahas, maaring ikaw ay maging isang object, or if not, another bad person, until you break the cycle of the karma. Dharma, kasi every karma is based on the dharma of an individual or the duties of an individual. Okay? They are divinely assigned to each person according to his or her place in society. So when you act good as a Shudra, okay, most likely, all throughout your life, you're becoming a good Shudra. So most likely in the next life, pwede kang maging isang Vaishya, o pwede tumaas ang iyong caste system because you had fulfilled your duty, your dharma, as an individual. Okay? Kung hindi man ginawa ng maayos, maaring may hindi maganda mangyayari sa kaluluwa mo at iikot ka lang sa siklo ng karma. Hindus faithfully fulfilled doing their karma and may eventually achieve moksha or liberation. Kasi in the Hindu society, hanggat hindi mo nagagawa yung duties or responsibilities mo, all throughout your soul will go again from one body to another, and then you will need to fulfill everything. Once you had achieved all of your good deeds, or if not your dharma, your faithful achievements in your dharma, your soul will reunite with Brahma, and your soul will achieve moksha or liberation. Once your soul had achieved moksha or liberation, it will unite with Brahma. Hence, you will achieve the perfect knowledge and bliss, that is spiritual joy. Since your soul emerged with Brahma, you had attained perfect knowledge and wisdom towards other people, or if not towards towards the environment, towards your acts or behaviors. Yan. So you will escape from this particular perfection of your soul. You will escape the cycle of death and rebirth. Kasi sa reincarnation process, it happens now, you need to fulfill good, so that your next soul will also, kung ba may kulang ka dun sa ginawa mo kabutihan, maaring ma-reincarnate ka, all throughout yung kaluluwa mo, you will be reincarnated as long as nagagawa mo yung dharma mo. But once na you had finished all of these particular responsibilities, you will attain the perfect knowledge. That means you have the so-called moksha or liberation. Now, there are important texts for us to consider in the Hindu practice as a religion and a way of life. The Vedas are the ancient scriptures or the revelation of Hindu teachings. The Rig Veda is the collection of thousand hymns. Samaveda is the knowledge of the chants or the basis of hymns and sacrifices. Yajurveda is how to practice such various acts or sacrifices. And the Atharva Veda is the knowledge represented by a sage or what is known as Atharva. Now, the next one is Buddhism. It's very popular that Buddhism is also somehow popular for its concept of the middle way. Yeah. One of the founders of Buddhism is Siddhartha Gautama. Born in Kapilavastu in Nepal, from the rich family of Gautama family of Shakya clan. At the age of 35, he reached enlightenment and became an enlightened one, or known as Buddha. He had discovered an enlightenment for the truth, no? And he immediately, he immediately shared it to 5 ascetics. Now, he is one of the rich family. That means when he did this particular meditation under the tree for quite some time, no, he had this various thoughts about enlightenment, about contradicting the structure of the caste system and the Hindu practices. So Buddhism is one of the direct challenge to Hindu practices. So that's why he called this teaching as the middle way. First, we need to attempt. He had reached the concept of nirvana. That means complete joy, experiences of harmony or joy, no, enjoyable experiences rather. Yeah. For us to attain nirvana, there are four noble truths according to Gautama Buddha. First is that life is full of suffering. Okay, that everything in this life has its consequences. And these sufferings now allow our souls now to have this so-called uh, burden. No, it became a burden for us, no, of not fulfilling our duties, our actions, or if not our behavior towards other people. So life is means of full of suffering. The second one is the attachment. The origin of our suffering is attachment. That means to say, it's very important that we need to look at why do we suffer, because we are being attached to a particular object or to a particular desire. Okay. Somehow, the interruption of suffering is attainable. That means if you will break or if you will detach yourself from the sufferings or from the concept of pain or burden, you will achieve the so-called nirvana through a so-called eightfold path. So the Four Noble Truths in one context, for example, for us to be clear here, no? Um, Meron kang gusto, isang bagay, pero hindi mo siya makukuha. At yun yung nagiging dahilan ng iyong paghihirap. Okay? Na kahit anong pilit mo doon sa pagkuha ng bagay na yun, eh hindi mo siya makuha-kuha kasi nga, maaring hindi ito para sa iyo, o kaya naman, eh hindi ito nababagay para sa iyo. So, ito yung nagiging dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon ka ng burden ng attachment. Okay? Yung paghihirap mo para ma-attain yung bagay na yun, yun yung nagkakos sa'yo ng suffering. Dahil nga sobrang attached ka na ma-achieve yun, makuha yun, minsan nasasaktan ka na all throughout your spiritual and physical self. Okay. Maaari mo na maputol yun through the so-called entering a so-called eightfold path. okay, to achieve or to experience nirvana. So what is the Eightfold Path? The right view, the right intention, the right speech, right action, livelihood, effort, concentration, and mindfulness. So, right understanding would include now how to understand or try to identify our suffering, try to identify now the causes of our suffering so that we can separate our sufferings to become a happy person, to enjoy life. Okay? What are your desire, salvation, or motives for the right goal? When you achieve right speech, that means do not speak bad against other person. The right behavior would include now to maintain a clean life and avoid various acts or behaviors that seem to be unpleasant for you. Livelihood would include now the performs a task to contribute a monastic life. That means meditation, complete meditation and reflection. Effort, that means you should have the initiative and confidence, consciousness of your actions, and confront their motivations to understand if your particular act is helpful or is it painful for you. And meditation would include now the deeply reflection of the genuine truths. That means you had already detached yourself from the suffering. At the same time, you had achieved now how to view things clearly without experiencing sadness or burden. Now, Buddhism as a religion had a branch, no, had extended its branches. So this somehow had an impact on their philosophical views. This includes the Theravada, Mahayana, Zen, and Vajrayana Buddhist practices. With Theravada very evident in China and some parts of Southeast Asia, and Mahayana is very evident in Southeast Asia. Zen is very evident in Japan, and some parts of Southeast Asia and even India would include the Vajrayana Buddhism. So Theravada has something to do with the way of the elders. That means to say, one should be an arhat or worthy. The writings of Buddha are now written, or if not based, on the Tripitaka or the three baskets. Now, the Theravada Buddhism would include now the following ideas that you need to consider. First is the Vinaya. That means the rules of begging or living a monastic life. You need to experience the so-called sutra or dialogues, which includes now the long teachings, the middle length teachings, the connected teachings, the graduated teachings, and small books collection about the life and practices of Buddha. And last is you should also do what is now the so-called the beyond the elementary teachings or the sutras known as Abhidhamma. Mahayana is also known as the big vehicle. That means in the Mahayana is that they had emphasized that nirvana is attainable to everyone through the so-called karuna or compassion. So karuna is known to be as the kindness, the abundance of the individual generosity. That means be kind to others and also be kind to yourself. Now, once you achieve the karuna or kindness, you should always emphasize now the bodhisattva. That means having a deep, always practice a deep compassion towards other people. And you will find the different stages of spiritual development if you had achieved karuna or being kind towards others. Once you had achieved or had achieved these particular characteristics, you will experience the upaya or the so-called spiritual greatness. So they had read most of the time the Mahayana Buddhism is their teachings, okay, again by Buddha, is based on the Trikaya or the three-body doctrine, okay, and this includes now the following. First, the Dharmakaya, or the so-called the form body, or the cosmic Buddha nature, or how Buddha had dealt with the environment, the space, and the nature itself. No, Nirmana Kaya is the transformation of the body. That means the incarnation of Buddha's physical body towards other people and towards to you, no, as a follower. Maitreya would refers now to the appears on the earth to inaugurate the golden age or the knowledge of Buddha's past lives. Now, these things that we need to consider, this is the composition of the Trikaya, or the so-called three-body doctrine. Next religion or point of view, philosophical point of view, would be Jainism. Okay. Mahavira Vardhamana is one of the founders of Jainism. This person is a Kshatriya. Okay, that means a warrior. He desired to live as an ascetic person, live in the life of a pauper, and become had experienced jina. Okay, he liberated his experience from pain, suffering, shaming, and loss. So, Vardhama is one of those founders of Jainism that talks about liberation, spiritual liberation. No, it is also somehow the same with the idea of Buddhism, but they have differ in it has its distinctions. No, they believe for the people of Jainism, they believe that universe is eternal. That means everyone is constantly changing, and there are two realities about our body. Okay, in the context of the universe. That means we have the non-life, the ajiva, and the jiva, the so-called soul life. This is the two realities about the universe. This is the composition of the universe, according to Mahavira. Okay, so he practiced the so-called non-violence or ahimsa. This is also known as the harmlessness. That means you need to be connected with other creatures. Even the small ants, you will not destroy the small ants, or you will not kill the small ants. Or if not, you believe that they have also the soul, same as humans. Okay? For the human beings, we need to look at the considerations of the material side. Pleasure, the escape from pain and self-interest. And the spiritual side is the freedom or an escape from the materialistic side and the limitation of the ego. For the Chinese, you need to look at or to limit yourself in the context of various pleasures or pain, and pursue and also lessen your self-interest because you are connected with others. You are also adhere to the idea of non-lying. That means you are discouraged to tell falsehood and avoiding exaggeration because the absolute truth is impossible to find because there is a unique point of views. That means when you say something towards other person, that means you're telling the truth. And for that other person, he's telling something about you, he's also telling the truth. So therefore, absolute truth is impossible to find. So that means the best important for you to deal with each other is do not lie to each other. You should also practice non-stealing because stealing arises from improper desire and causes pain to others. So pag nagnakaw ka, that means naiinggit ka sa kung anong meron sa kapwa mo. You should also practice chastity and you should practice the so-called complete celibacy and sexual fidelity to your partners. Non-attachment is very important for Jainism because For the Chinese, all attachments bring certain bondage, and it can completely control a person through possessions and family. So for the Chinese, you need to become non-attached to your friends, to your family, to your possession. And you need to connect yourself with the nature, with the spirits of the nature, or if not, to connect with other people. But do not attach to do not attach yourself to these people, as they are not also attached to you in the Chinese point of view. The next is Sikhism, talks about social equality. It's founded by Guru Nanak. A guru is a term for a teacher, a sage, or if not a scholar. Sikhism is a relation with God that can be established through meditation, and they do believe that there is one supreme eternal reality. Again, a response to the various Hindu practices. And this supreme reality is the truth, the creator of all things, and immanent in creation. So he is revealing, and because there is one supreme eternal reality, this is known by the Guru's grace. They do believe that human beings may commune with God by reflecting His name, or very popular in the Sikhs known as Nam, and surrender to the will of God, or to Nam. Okay? They encourage followers to be active in the society, to preach loyalty and justice among other uh, people. So they do not believe in the caste system, priesthoods, or worship of images. Most of all, they also include now the teachings of karma and the soul, the relationship of the law of karma and the soul, which for them is known as the Atma. Adi Granth is the sacred text that includes now the hymns of expressing reflective thoughts of the 10 gurus of Sikhism. The male Sikhs are expected to join the Khalsa, or the Khalsa rather, a religious quasi-military group. The 5 Ks of Khalsa, or the so-called military group, would include now the Kesh. You should practice now the following: uncut hair and beard. Hair is covered with turban or cloth. The Kanga is the hair comb to hold the long hair in place. The Kak is the special underwear that is readiness to fight. The Kirpan is the sword used for defense. The Kara is a bracelet of steel which symbolizes strength. So this is an example of a a Sikh person practicing the Khalsa. Okay. Now, in East Asia naman, we focus on both religion, philosophy and religion as a way of life. First is the Confucianism. There's a very important relationship in Confucianism that includes the leader and the follower, that's number one, the husband and wife, the parents and the child, the elder and younger sibling, and friend to friend. For the Confucianists, they do believe a perfect society is when which members would be cared and protected and no one would feel abandoned. Hence, very important yung duty, yung obligation, and protection of a person towards his from a leader for his followers, a husband to his wife, parent to a child, friend to friend, and so forth. So there are dito, five important terms, no, about the things you need to consider in the Confucian virtues or values. First is the Gen, about the person. He should have a pure conscience because that is the goal of the human being. The Li is the propriety. That means you need to do what is appropriate. Your action should be appropriate towards your leaders, to your family, to your wife, to your husband, to your friend, and to your uh, elders. Shu is the so-called reciprocity. That means putting the gen, the conscious, into practice. Xiao is the so-called filial piety, devotion to all members of the family. You need to love them, you need to protect them, you need to support them. And Wen is the appreciation of culture that includes the arts and literary works as well. So there are five classics, no, that one a Confucianist should consider in accordance to the sayings of Confucius. This includes now the Book of Changes, the Book of History, the Spring and Autumn Annals, the Book of Poetry, the Book of Rites, and also includes now the Sishu or the Four Sacred Accounts, the Analects, the Doctrine of Mean, the Greater Learning, and the Book of Mencius. Now, the classics would include now the Shujing. This is the materials about the Zhou dynasty that is being discussed by your classmate. The Shijing is the 100 poems in the Zhou period that includes now various wisdoms and sayings. Book of Changes or the Yi Jing is the basic patterns of the universe to understand how future events can occur and how to work with them properly. The Book of Rites or the Li Ji is the ancient ceremonies and their meaning. And the Spring and Autumn Annals or the Shunkyu is the records of Lu in which Confucius lived. So in the Spring and Autumn Annals, it includes now various sayings or wisdoms Confucius had mentioned all throughout about people, about the individual, about the community, and about leadership. The sacred accounts would include now the Lun Yu, or the sayings or conversations of Confucius. The Great Learning, or Da Sui, is the discussion of character and influence of the noble person. The Doctrine of Mean, or the Zhongyong, is the discussion of harmony of nature. And Mengzi is the collection of teachings of Mencius as a follower of Confucius, and also his point of view about a human person, of an individual. So Confucius and Confucianism focuses on the role of people in the society. It is also a question of morality and ethics in government and in family. They need to understand the concept of way or the Tao. So the first idea would be the concept of duty. The second is the empathy. So kaya lumabas dito yung pinaka-sense ng Confucius na do not do unto others what you would not wish done to yourself. Hanfei is very popular in the context of legalism. That means you need to follow. The ruler has an absolute power that could turn all his people's efforts towards the state wealthy and powerful, and all human action should be subordinated to the state. You need to follow the law. That's legalism. So any violations of the human actions, okay, based on the law will be severely punished. So therefore, the humans are being subjected to the will of the state. So there are few things that you need to consider in legalism as the moving force of society. The Fa, or the law, the Shi, or the legitimacy of the leader, and Shu is the method of leadership. The law is written and disseminated to the people and govern states. It exists to preserve order, rewards, and punishments. That's Fa. Shi is the legitimacy of the leader, of the credit of power to the position, and the Shu is the method of leadership. So how to be governed, how the people should be governed strictly and strongly. So Han Feizi is the basic guidebook of the legalists in China. The next is the idea of Taoism by Lao Tzu. Okay, so Taoism is a practication of application of values, humility, patience, and self-control. This includes the Tao Te Ching, or that means the Book of Way and Virtue. So they need to understand that the best way to act in harmony with the universal order is to act spontaneously and let the nature takes its course. So a person who avoids conventional and social obligations and lives a simple and spontaneous life are very close to nature. That means you are now being connected to your environment, the man as part of the nature. Okay? Taoism also talks about the flow of the nature, that is the Tao or the path. That means there is a natural flow of nature, that is the cosmos. All things are one despite the differences in form and appearance. Meditation is the true meaning of life, and the Taoists believe in abstinence, patience, and humility. So, in other words, Taoism is when you are connected with the nature, you are giving meaning of life through the nature, and you believe in patience and humility, that all things at first you allow the nature to take its course. With regards to your faith, your belief, allow the nature to take its course. The nature that we are discussing here is not just about the environment, the trees, the plants. No, it talks about the nature of the human person, the interest of the human person. Tao Te Ching includes now the poetic proverbs with full of metaphors. The Shuangzi is written in prose. Yan. It includes now the respect of path and resist to categories, divisions, and separations. So, at one point, Chuang-Tzu is a life is a process of change and therefore dynamic. Okay? In understanding the human nature, Mencius or Mengzi and Xunzi had described it as the following. Mencius first pointed out that human nature is essentially good, and Sun Tzu emphasized that human nature is evil. So goodness, according to Mencius, manifests through experiences and peace of mind. Whereas Sun Tzu stated that because humans also gave birth to feelings such as envy or hate, he tries to uh, he tries to outwit other people through various or bad acts, no? Because having the sense of loyalty and good faith will disappear because of the various conditions or actions he is taking to as he grow old, no? As he uh, take his course to his interest, to his self-interest. Okay, so that's the first part of religion, philosophies, and beliefs in Asia. So I hope that you had learned something from it, and I'll see you on the second part of this one. Until then, have a great day.